All right, you guys, we back with another live stream. Please share, subscribe, hit that like button for me, and let's get with this live. Now, thousands of black Californians could get 5 million restitution under new laws. Now, this not referring to all black Americans. And they've been talking about this quite some time. So don't think that they're going to give all black Americans per family 5 million. Because I believe the law will have to get into effect. This bill will have to get into effect and pass before, black Americans can get, this compensation. So San Francisco Mayor Daniel approved a new law setting up a restitution fund to compensate for slavery and racial discrimination that passed the City Board of Supervisors early in December. In a statement to A New Week, Daniel emphasized that while the new law sets up a restitution fund, the city is not allocating money to it. I was elected to drive San Francisco recovery, and that what I'm focused on every day, we are not allocating money to this fund. With a historic $1 billion budget, we are going to spend our money on making the cities safer and cleaner, he says. Now, I'm going to tell y'all, this money is not going to be funded to black Americans, because you'd be so lucky that half of the thousands of black Americans get funded, because the money gonna go elsewhere. You see, they're already planning on using this budget on making their cities much safer, cleaner. They're not, like I said, they're not interested in helping us. So according to reports, now let's get to the report. The funds were set up in response to recommendations for single payments as much as 5 million to any black San Franciscans who might be eligible. Now, why it matters. The advocates have called for governments to consider restitution's efforts to address the country legacy of slavery and racial discrimination. Illinois was the first city to offer restitution to some black residents in 2021. Now, they've been talking about this restitution for quite some time, as though they're going to give us something. So according to this report, we're going to get to the report. It says, to some black residents in 2021, other cities have also established task force to consider how restitution may be paid to black Americans. Now, San Francisco supervisors have passed a new ordinance that sets up restitution funds. Now, the funds is intended to implement recommendations from San Francisco restitution plans 2023, which recommended recommend, recommended a one-time lump sum payment of $5 million to each eligible person. Now, a lump sum payment will compensate the effect of population for the decades of harm that they had experienced it, and will redress the economic opportunity loss that Black San Francisco have endured collectively as a result of both intentional decisions and unintended harm perpetuated by city policies. The report reads. Now, according to this report, however, the new law only sets up the funds. It does not actually include any money for. The money could be a law located or donated to the funds at a later time. The $5 million payment will only be paid if funding allows it under clear how much funding San Francisco lawmakers are willing to put into the funds. Now, I say this to you guys. It's up to the lawmakers how much. See, the bill is worth $1 billion. And see, they're not planning to give this bill to all Black Americans for this racial discrimination. They're already planning to use the money to make their cities more safer. You know, they're not going to probably use this funding bill to help Black Americans. So it says here, more details about who exactly may be qualified for remaining unclear. It says the funds shall be administered by the city human rights commissions and shall be expanded solely for the purpose of supporting and implementing the recommendations described in the restitution plans according to the text. Now, the African Americans Restitution Advisory Committee produced a report 2023 outlining many types of restitution in addition to the lump sum payments. It points to financial restitution such as supplementing the incomes of lower income African American households, providing access to financial education and the financing of debt forgiveness programs. Now let's go. And see, I want to talk to you guys for a second, man. What will be the end of this war? Because many of you may think that America can end her war in Asia. Now, I want to say this, because this will bring peace and prosperity to the people of America. Perhaps someday there may be a lull in a war, but not now. Now, if America can find a way to bring about this peace or war between each other, this does not mean that peace and prosperity is assured, not this time. Now, America and Asia will have to find a way to bring about peace of this war, because there's still a Cold War we see between America and Russia. And I want you guys to understand, don't look for a settlement after this war, as though they're going to give you a settlement after the war. So there's still this Cold War we see with America and Russia and other parts of Europe to be reckoned with. Now, Europe will become a dread spot when America leaves Asia. It is true as the prophet has predicted that America must come out of Asia or be thrown out. We see each America and Russia, the two most powerful war factors of the world, is seeking to maintain their rule over the nation of Earth and even to conquer outer space. See, this will not last long. Now, in a travel investigation into space, Allah God is permitting them to peep into his great unequal creation of powers and might, the heavens and earth. The Holy Quran teaches us that when God gets ready to destroy a people, he opens the door of heaven to them. He gives them a peep into his great wisdom and secret. But this does not mean that this will add power to the enemy to be able to war against the Creator. See, the reason for all this is due to the fact that Allah God is setting up a kingdom of righteousness, freedom, justice, and equality. I say this to my black brothers and sisters: do not look for a high-paying job. See, drawing a big roll of money after a war, unless it's with the help of Allah God. You prepare this for yourself, which I advise you to do. Now, the most dreadful divine judgment we see that have ever been witnessed by man are now coming on America. See, America is in a divine target because she could have better herself in the divine eyes of Allah God, who came in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, whom praise are due forever. But America, she did not want to better herself, as we see is written and prophesied concerning ancient Babylon and Egypt. See, we will have healed Babylon, but Babylon was not healed because she was not willing to do justice by the captive Jews from Jerusalem. So we see it was with Pharaoh when Allah God went after Egypt. Pharaoh refused to give justice to Israel. They made war against Allah Jehovah and his prophet Moses to prevent Israel from going free of Pharaoh's enslavement of them. Now, the judgment is near. And everywhere that we may look at, and everything that we can think about marks the end of this world. Now, I want y'all to understand something. It was with Pharaoh in his time. Pharaoh refused to let the people go. And Pharaoh, being the hard taskmaster that he is. And see, it was the Spirit of God that used a mighty hand to divide the people. It was the Spirit of God that went into Egypt by a pure cloud and a pure fire that led them and directed them. But however, you see the people end up into some places that they didn't like. So you see how they mumble and complain against God. I wonder why God didn't leave us down here in Egypt, but you was just complaining just to get released from Egypt. And Pharaoh, being the hard taskmaster that he is, and you got so comfortable of eating, the fish, the cucumber, the garlic, those things that was tasty. And see, God is trying to get us back on track. But those things that you was hooked on wouldn't be good for you in the first place. So we see when it comes to America, she knows she got to offer you a room and board. But brothers and my sisters, how long you going to be pacified around? See, this is not a time that you can be looking for a settlement of the war. Don't expect to have a settlement. And you see on Facebook, on these social medias, they got all these settlements. You see, as though they're going to give you something. Because we see when it comes, my brothers and sisters, everywhere that we may look and everything that we can think about, we know it marks the end of this world. See, there was never a time we seen in history a United States of America that the president will go out to try to visit the heads of all of the nations that seem to be somewhat his equal. He is like a criminal who has committed a crime, and he hopes for mercy for those whom he has committed a crime against. We cannot escape our doom when it comes to teaching this Holy Quran and the Bible. They showed no mercy at all to this black slave. They treated this black slave worse than any human being that ever been treated. They continue to do so, we see, in the face of divine judgment. See, this reminds you of a parable of the rich man and the poor man. See, as long as the rich man enjoy luxury, you see he cares nothing about luxury for his slave Lazarus. Now, I want to give you the parable of the poor man Lazarus because no one came to him. See, no one aided this poor man Lazarus. Then it says, at last, we see the rich man flew into poverty. He was unable to get the help he needed, even for himself. See, the Bible says of the poor black slaves that none helped them. Now, you see the rich man gets in the place of his once slave. See, the rich man can witness how it feels to be a very poor man. See, the parable says at last, the rich man dies. In hell, he lifted up his eyes. He saw his slaves and the blossom of Abraham and the heaven that the slave had been promised that he would get into. It was such a beautiful heaven that the poor slave was lolling around in. The rich man will cry out to the slave to share hell with him. He asked the slave to bring him a drop of water in hell. He knew that if the slave tried to get to hell with a drop of water, the slave would never get to heaven. The rich man will be happy if he receive a drop of water to ease his pain and torment. But the slave could not come to him with a drop of water. Then go to some of this rich man's brother, who the rich man knew he was bound to get a taste of the same hell that this rich man was in. See, the rich man would say, Father Abraham, if you not let Lazarus come to me, then send him to my brothers. And words to say they are bound to get hell too. So I want to say to you, we see the time is not far off. We see this parable now and the working. I said to you, my black brothers and sisters, Lazarus tried to stay in a blossom of Abraham because no man came to us now, as the Bible teaches us. No man came to the poor Lazarus. Lost found. See, no one aided him. See, I have been begging for help to borrow money, saying that we will give the extreme interest. No one have come to our aid yet. So the white man has tried to prevent everyone who would give us a little help. So Allah God came to help us from ourselves. May Allah God bless us to do his will and bless us to please him. For Allah God is the only help that we have today. See, I do not care what interest we offer. No one wants to loan us. They know that we are well worth the loan. But they do not want us to be helped. They figure we are going too fast as it is. But oh rich man, you see your days have come. Your fall has come. And no one wants to help you. They do not want to come near. They see the divine destruction, licking his tongue about you on all sides. They do not want to get near to you. See, Europe is standing for will not come here. She does not want any of you. Europe see your doom. She does not want any herself. Whom to the white slave master we see hell. He lift up his eyes. In hell he had lift up his eyes. Now, I want to say with the worst is yet to come. And we see, according to the radio, we hear in the television, we see, and according to the individual conversations, and according to the conversation heard between these government officials concerning the problem of trying to find a way to peace for the people. Money, markets, unemployment, and a stoppage to a revolution between the dissatisfied and the dissatisfied, to find a way to be able to eat and to keep the hungry eating from his own labor. Pacification is offered but does not satisfy. With nation rejecting peace offers, a nation laughing and making mock of you, forever seeking peace and friendship. As it is written, peace a desire more than fine gold. See, the nation wants peace. And the nation can't have peace when there's no peace. You know, peace, peace, they say, when there's no peace. Now to see all these things coming to pass, things that we did not know that we would see. See, we did not know that we would see such a Goliath, such a giant falling. See, Goliath, my brothers and sisters, had defiled the nation of earth to come out and fight with them, as Goliath did before Israel. Now we see nations make mock of the great giant of the earth, America. The sword within and the sword without. We see trouble seem to have no ends. And with tens of millions of free black slaves crying today for freedom, justice, and equality from the white slave masters. The white slave master wants to deceive the black slave and make promises that the white slave masters does not intend to fulfill to free the black slaves. And with the free black slave thinking that he will eat some crumbs of freedom, justice, and equality from his white slave masters. The free black slave will be greatly deceived. The white slave master cannot free himself from his enemy. Not to think of the white slave masters free himself from the consequences of the dissatisfied world. So with this worst yet to come, I said to you, my beloved brothers and sisters, fly to Allah and come follow me. There are some intelligent whites, people who knows, who will bear witness with me, that the worst is yet to come. Now look at Texas. We see there's a warden at a certain prison house who send the believers, Muslims, to the temple so that they may listen to the truth, which is their starvation today, to accept the truth. I think that this is a very wise warden. The Bible. The general knew that the hour was wrong and that Elijah was right. The general took 400 of Elijah's followers and hid and fed them with the bread of the hour in order to save them from hunger while they was in captivity. So I said to you, my leaders, remember the above says of this writing that the worst is yet to come. As the Bible teaches us, their time will come that have never come before. And that those who understood, their heart will be failing with them. Fear, and their eyes will go away and their holes. For looking at things that they saw come on their people. The trouble, the destruction, and the pledge. Look at the earthquakes now that are taking place. Those earthquakes on their way here. We are feeling the earth shaking under our feet across this country. As the Holy Quran prophesied to us, you will hear it coming from a distant place. See, America be set all around now with trouble and destruction, which have happened. America thought that she was immune to the trouble and destruction, which are going on in other nations. Now we see the same trouble and destruction that we read of have happened in other countries and to other nations. We see the same trouble and destructions with the evil and gruesome sound we see are knocking on the doors of America today. Now, we see even today, after it been 100 years of this so-called freedom, he is still against you going free. See, this is our trouble today. You are deceived and being deceived by the enemy you would think is a friend. But take notes of what he is offering you. He is only offering you a temporary enjoyment. and not a permanent enjoyment for your people. See, we want some earth, and not a temporary room in the house of our enemies. Now, let the political and spiritual leaders unite on such a stand as getting some earth for the people, and not just getting a job and a chance to loll around sleeping, and allowing the enemy to protect our responsibility for self. We must bear our own responsibilities. This, the God of justice and truth, will force you to do before he will be defeated. His purpose and aim is to unite us to our own. He will fight the arch deceiver today with the force of nature and with his own wisdom, which has no equal, to make you an enemy bow to his will. This is the judgment of the world, especially of the white man in America, who have been here for 400 years, living between the two oceans we see, the Atlantic and the Pacific, to do as he pleases. We see the slave are deceived of the freedom to do as he pleases, but to do as the slave master pleases. Our great misunderstanding of self and of others, lies, and the deceits of the arch deceiver of us. See, they will never teach you and me to do good for self, only under their own power and dictatorship. What we need today is unite, not demanding and marching over the country to live near the white man and his home, but to demand a separate place for us in this country and to help us with the means of civilization, as he have to get started limiting the time to get started within the next 20 or 25 years. Now, many scientists think that it's too late for this demand because of the anger of Allah God against America for evil done to us. But Allah has power over all things, and he does that which he will to do. It is up to America if she wants to help us. It would be a great good putting us on a way to self by any evil one or nation. The God of justice will grant them a reward for doing such, as no good act goes without its reward. Now, I want to say this to you guys that's timing here. They will have to do a marvelous thing. A thing that they can do to turn it back around. If they give us restitution, that'll be a good reward. Because when Jesus says, whenever you give a sister or brother a drink of water, and that's going to be a good act, then you see God can prolong their time. See, God can put extension of time, because no good act goes without its reward. It's entirely up to America to make good this day. You see, they will deceive the so-called nigga today under temptation, filth, and a promise that they will be given jobs and a new home next door to them in the same territory, which their very nature is against, and which is without any future. It is temporary enjoyment. We want something permanent. Give us a few of these states to live into ourselves, which we have well earned for 400 years of free labor. When he sees that his life and your life are at stake to try to accept the present plans, filled with deceits, to a Negro, both you and he will welcome an opportunity to agree on the kind of program. Unite with me, Black America, for your starvation. And see, I want to say, he knows his life is at stake, but he don't care because he's going to drag the rest of you into his fall. See, when we see evil spreading far and wide, see, we never seen such time when it comes to the creation of Adam and Eve. It had been such time as now we are witnessing today, with the worst yet to come. There is no peace amongst this nation of earth. The only few people we enjoy peace of mind and contentment in this day and time are the elect of God. Though they are persecuted, we see from cities to cities, falsely accused it and denied the credit due them because of the righteousness and the malice of the wicked who have ruled the world. By no means can the righteous be represented by the righteous say by these evil doers of the world. God is despised and rejected. Evil is accepted today and honor. Justice stands far off, and equity cannot come in, said the prophet Isaiah in the Bible. The Holy Quran warns us to fear a day when the evil is spread far and wide, and the days of God's presence at the end of this satanic world to bring it to a nothing. God calls this evil world to be upset, since they have been enemies of peace and haters and destroyers of the righteous, who would have brought them peace if they had accepted those worthy of the prophets. But they reject all Jesus charged them with, being the murderers of the righteous, from Abel to Zechariah. And we can very well add more and say from Abel to Muhammad. Today, America professes to be the most Christianized country on our planet. But actually, she is not. Christian means to be Christianized to one. Spiritually, that one refers to the Christ. Christ means the one who is coming at the end of the world, or the wicked as a crusher. His name actually means one who is anointed to crush the wicked. We see the real satanic people are the right race, who have discussed themselves to see the black people to follow them. They just use the name Christian, which means to be Christ-like. They have set up a head for the religion of Rome, Italy, with the Pope Father who represents himself as being a deceiver, meaning one who is second only to Christ or God, and to deceive the people of sin and recognition of God. But he had no divine backing. This false should be destroyed by the Christ, the crusher of the wicked, the great Mahdi of Islam, Allah, God in person. See, these are the days of God and Christ's presence. to destroy this evil world and all of the deceptions that the people should again labor under a wicked ruler, the devil. The president of our life has upset the devil, who had exercised total control over the world under falsehood and had made evil to appear fair seemingly. The so-called Christian world has never before displayed such madness as they do today, since they cannot hide their real wickedness and their deceitful ways. They are angry. According to their preaching and teachings of Christianity, they prophesied that they alone will be the happy groups that will welcome the coming of the Messiah, the Christ, or the Mahdi. But the Bible condemned them, that they was angry and sought to hide their faith from him, God. It should be clear to you today that Christian America does not want such preaching as a tire submission to the will of our lives, Islam. Christians hate this very name of God, such as Muhammad, which are attribute of God. The Jesus prophesied that they would hate you for his God's namesake, for having one of his names, because the name of God are to live forever. No, the name of God are to live forever. No other people on earth have the name of God but the Muslims. So the coming of just one makes manifest to you this evil race of sinners, and they will be against his God's presence and be anger because of him, who would seek to destroy him and his messengers, as it is prophesied in 2 Psalm. And every nation have a term. So when a term comes, they cannot remain behind the least while, nor can they decide. See, white America has a term. Now, there was a term received for the people, Noah, Lot, and Moses. This also holds truth in a life or death of individuals. See, all is under control of Almighty Allah, especially when the divine beginning and ending had been appointed for the accomplishments, certain work that must be done, but a life of people. The above chapter and verses of the Holy Quran is warning to a present nation whose term is now coming to an end. If we know what is said to us, what is written by the prophet for us, to read, study, and ponder over, if we understand, we shall not fall victims to misunderstanding and disbelief. The trouble with this black man in America is that he is heedless of the truth. For he was reared by the slave foster parents, who is his enemy, the right race. They caused him to become heedless. It was the intention of the enemy. So we see this was the intention of the enemy, to make this black man an enemy to the truth, as himself was and is. Now, this was the enemy plan and doing. See, the black man in America is referred to as being blind, deaf and dumb, and many instant as dead. See, this is the work of the enemy. So therefore, it took one who is our friend and not our enemy to do good to us and to restore us to life mentally. You see, the children of the father's slave master who took our life mentally are working just as faithfully as their fathers did. However, we see Since 100 years have elapsed from the time of the slave fathers, children are wiser and educated, more and method to keep this black man in America blind, deaf, and dumb. In the days we see as servitude slavery of our grandparents, see the white slave master did not even give them good food. Today you can buy good food if you have the money. However, much of it is poison we see by chemical use. The white slave master would even offer a piece of fried chicken and a biscuit with a little butter on it to a so-called Negro as an introducement for him to teach or preach what the slave master wanted him to all the other slaves on Sunday morning. The slave did not have the theologically of the scriptures, and he made his other brother spiritually blind, deaf, and dumb. You see, the same will go for the preachers of today, as you can see. Now they preach for a reward for both whites and blacks. I have tried them for many years. They are as their fathers were. See, they desire to follow the white man. They want him to give them better positions and will offer to cut off their heads of their black brothers if it would please the masters. Although I live in a neighborhood with white neighbors, I do so for the purpose of proving that I can live in a neighborhood just as cleanly and noisily as they do. White people do not like you come to their neighborhoods, jumping on them and licking them in the mouth like a puppy. They do not want their friends to think that you are being taken as an equal. He will talk to you as a friend when he's not in the presence of members of society. They do not like you coming to their blocks, beating your wife or girlfriends, and drinking in front of their houses. See, no decent, intelligent person like this. Whether he is white ass no or black ass the ace of spade. You can go to these jungles and will not expect this. You see, late at night, he and a gang of monkeys will come out and beat you up. The American so-called Negro have been made out of himself in kind by white Americans. He must now be reformed. In fact, God has promised him a new body. The Bible and Holy Quran teach us that we will be a new people altogether. He will destroy and act ignorant and foolish. He is not aware of his ignorant action because he has become a part of ignorancy. Now the end of the term which was set for the white man have come. The average so-called Negro, the lost found members of the black nation, does not know that this is the end of the world of the white man, his rule over the black nation. He will not listen to one of his own kind who tells or teaches him of the time and doom of the world that we have known, white man's world. They'll offer high positions and money to the so-called Negro intellectual politicians who will work against the good of the black American people. They will accept such, for they have been deceived of love for self and kind. What do they care about the millions who are swathed in the mud of civilization? They are content as long as they eat the butter biscuit and the fried chicken as their slave fathers did. You will not think that they will hire themselves out to be stool pigeons, white man bootlickers, Uncle Toms, in these modern times and advanced education. But they are doing just that. See, they do not want the praise from God and their own black people. They want it from their slave master children. Slave master children would give it to them as long as they reject themselves in kind and worship and serve white people. The white man is very clever in making a public fool of the black man. They show the brown, yellow, and red man what a great job they have done on the black man in America and throughout the earth. He's doing what nature bid him to do. See, I do not blame this white man anymore for making fools of our people. See, it's the nature of the white man to make a fool of our people. But it's not the nature of our people to allow him to make a fool of us. But when you have been given the knowledge of yourself, the nature in which God created you, still allow the enemy to make a fool of you, and you do not have the sympathy of God and the righteous after knowledge. The divine terms that was given to this white race to allow them to make a fool of the black man and to rule him with tricks is now up. The devil with his trick analogy must be removed. He was given this chance to deceive you with his trick analogy, and therefore God will not hinder the devil from tricking you if he can. This is written in the Holy Quran, chapter 7. But God promised hellfire for both the devil and his followers, whom he can get from the black nation.